Hello there, time to continue my skin tint series. Great to see you enjoyed the first episode covering my top 6 favourite tints, but we're powering on with other popular or underrated formulas I enjoy too. The minimal, lightweight, barely there base market has boomed in recent years, so there's a lot out there to cover, in a light coverage way, of course. You'll find my reviews of Chanel Le Beige Waterfresh Tint, Lisa Eldridge Seamless Skin Enhancing Tint, Typology Tinted Serum, Summer Fridays Sheer Skin Tint, Sculpted by Amy Hydra Tint, and the Hourglass Veil Hydrating Skin Tint in the first episode below. Stay tuned for my upcoming lightweight foundation episode in future, still nice and sheer to suit my style, but a little more oomph. Glowy base products are a different beast altogether, previous mini-series on that topic linked below, and I'll be working on a foundation stick roundup later this year. A few of the formulas here contain SPF, so I wanted to add a quick note that I'm not a fan of tinted sunscreens or makeup containing sunscreen. I just think it can feel confusing and misleading for beauty lovers who think they're doing the right thing, but wearing a tiny swipe of skin tint with SPF in it isn't going to properly protect you. To reach the SPF rating on the label, it's all about applying the correct amount, which is a 1/4 teaspoon of sunscreen just for your face, or 1/2 teaspoon if you're doing your face, neck, and ears as you should. As you can see, a 1/4 teaspoon is so much product, and given you've clicked on this skin tint video, there's a good chance you don't wear this much. For that reason, I always like to separate my steps, applying a non-tinted sunscreen underneath so I know I'm protected properly, then a few drops of skin tint on top. But SPF also isn't cumulative. That's worth keeping in mind too. So wearing an SPF 20 tint over an SPF 30 sunscreen does not equal SPF 50. You only ever get the higher protection out of the two numbers. So SPF 30 in that example. With all of that sun safety in mind, on to the tints. Starting with a lesser known member of the skin tint team from Trinny London, the brand created by Trinny Woodall in the UK. This BFF cream was one of my makeup favourites back in 2020, 2021, 2022. It could have been in my all-time favourites list, but a couple of more recent finds just edged in front of it in the last video. Described as a luminous, lightweight skin perfector with a sheer radiant finish, this is all about a healthy glow. More about the glow than the tint, I'd argue. It starts out as this white/greyish colour, but micro-encapsulated pigments burst and transform into a tint as you work it in. It's a really barely there pick. My skin just looks incredibly dewy and fresh, and you're still seeing your skin, just a slightly more even and radiant version of it. It comes in 5 sheer shades, eyewear light medium. I do remember the brand talking about expanding the range once upon a time, so I hope to see that in future. Glossier Perfecting Skin Tint feels like a flashback at this point. Once upon a time, this little bottle was the leading no makeup choice on the market, but the category has grown so much since this first launched in 2014. Thankfully, the shade range has also grown from an initial 5 shades to 12 from 2019 onwards. I wear G10, which matched my old shade medium. This has the most lightweight texture out of all the products in this video. A super smooth, ultra thin, breathable fluid that slightly evens out your skin's appearance and makes it look dewy and healthy. I can see this suiting zero coverage, no base makeup wearers who don't like feeling any product on their face, but it also works well for minimal makeup lovers like me who want a hint of coverage and polish. You can just add more or less drops. I remember reading once that the founder Emily Weiss used to wear 10 to 15 drops, but I've always found about 8 to 9 is the sweet spot for me. It's not going to cover anything, but that's not a criticism. That's the point. Still a fan of this all these years later. I repurchased it in London last year, and it's been lovely rediscovering it and popping it back in my makeup bag as part of this series. I wanted to touch on Kosas BB Burst and also hand the microphone over to you because reviews can be a little mixed. This is a tinted gel cream. It comes in 24 shades. I wear 13 light cool. It's lightweight, sheer, designed to slightly even out the complexion, but I think I personally prefer the look and feel of a tinted cream or liquid or serum on my normal to dry skin rather than a gel or gel cream. Application technique is really important here. The brand emphasizes the need to let your skincare fully absorb before you apply, then that application needs to be quite firm. Less of a light swipe or tap, more of a face massage. The warmth of your fingers will help work it in, really getting in there to blend and smooth out the texture. Now, I've only had mine for a year, but I think it's gone off. This separation doesn't look too flash, but from memory, it always looked a little bit like this, which I thought was normal from the encapsulated pigment aspect, but it looks a little too funky now compared to other reviews I've seen online. So maybe I had a strange batch from the start. A year is what it says on the bottle, but I'm also used to being able to just use my judgment with expiry dates and getting a lot more life out of a product. Very interested to hear how yours is looking if you've tried it. Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer, the OG, my gateway to the tinted moisturizer world. I remember buying this for the first time when I was studying in the UK during the golden era of British YouTubers back in 2013. In fact, this is the original. Don't worry, I haven't worn it in years, but I haven't parted with it yet either. Can you tell my storage system needs some work? Exactly what I'm tackling at the moment, actually, as I declutter my makeup collection over on Patreon. Very excited to have a new space, an additional space to share even more content with you. You can learn a bit more about that in my recent mascara video. This formula has gone through several iterations to the point where I don't have the current version, so it's a bit tricky to review it properly for you, but it's always been so lovely and illuminating and sheer with a creamier texture than the others so far. My most recent tube says Tinted Moisturizer Natural Skin Perfector, but it now exists as Natural Dewy in the title, and my shade Blush doesn't exist anymore. Let me know if you're a loyal Laura Mercier fan who's used a few versions or tried the latest one. Ciele Tint and Protect pops up a lot as a popular newer pick and a product a lot of you have been curious about. Makeup artist Nikki DeRoost created this lovely weightless serum in 13 shades. I wear 3 light, but it has a fair bit more coverage than the others so far. In fact, it's medium coverage, so we've definitely jumped up from my sheer to light initial picks. As a result, I find the brand's suggested 6 to 9 drops personally too much for my light coverage preferences, so I just stick to 1 or 2 drops to keep it really sheer, but the ability to build is there if you're into it. It's meant to have a seamless, velvety, natural finish, but I find it fairly dewy, always a good thing in my books. It contains SPF 50+, all Ciele products do contain SPF, but as I mentioned earlier, if you like sheer coverage, you'll never apply enough of this for it to act as your sunscreen, so just pop enough of a separate sunscreen underneath every morning. We're in the same tinted sunscreen territory with Merit the Uniform Tinted Mineral Sunscreen SPF 45, which launched last year. It comes in 15 shades to correspond to their 30 Minimalist Complexion Perfecting Stick shades. I wear 26 in the Uniform and June in the Minimalist. This has a smoothing, blurring effect with a soft, natural, velvety finish on the skin. Love to see Merit encouraging everyday sunscreen use, but again, I love to reinforce the importance of applying the correct amount. Sorry, not sorry to be a broken record on sun protection, but you know the drill. I treat this as more of a skin tint on top of my separate sunscreen. It has a more soft matte finish than the rest of the group and a slightly thicker consistency with fine natural powders that help blur and smooth the skin. Not as glowy as I usually go for, but it means it lasts well and seems to get good reviews from people with oilier skin types who can't do dewy as easily. Let me know if you've tried this and you agree. That's it for this 2-part skin tint update, to be continued with lightweight foundations and foundation sticks another time. My favourites from this group, you know I love staying on the sheer side of life, so Glossier Perfecting Skin Tint and Trinny London BFF Cream are the ones I've kept coming back to and repurchasing over the years. I do also love the texture and the look of the Ciele serum on the skin if I just stick to a couple of drops. Think you know a tinted moisturiser or skin tint that sounds similar to any of my picks? Please let me know in the comments. I loved hearing about your favourites last time, so let's also give some love to others you've tried and enjoyed over the years. And a throwback, tell me if you remember what was the first skin tint you ever tried. Thanks for watching, see you next time.